It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and if you're watching this chronologically, you probably don't know what's been going on, but the last couple of days, I haven't been uploading videos to this channel or the Reviewing Network Live channel. I want to get that out of the way first of all. I'm going to be brief on it, though. I'm not going to let it take control of the video here, because I'll save that for the longer discussion on the Reviewing Network Live, but basically, what happened was that I talked about it in the community section that I had a death in my family. My grandmother passed away on Tuesday. She would have been 86 this month, and it's been kind of a rough couple of months for her and my family in particular, because we've been trying to take care of her. But basically, like I said, I don't want to delve too much into it, but she kind of made it more difficult on herself for a number of different reasons. Like I said, I'm not going to get into too many details on that front, but that's why I didn't really do much last week in terms of videos, because of the fact that I was grieving for that. But on top of that, because we had the funeral and all that last week, but on top of all of that, half my family got food poisoning too, because on Thursday night we went to this restaurant after we had the wake, and everybody got to see the viewing of it. And then Friday we had the service where we sent her to the cemetery. But we went to this restaurant, and basically half my family got food poisoning, including myself, which made me feel really, really uncomfortable. You know, I had all the symptoms of food poisoning. You know, diarrhea, nausea, even some vomiting, which I don't usually vomit all that much. I mean, it's been a long time since I've had a really, sometimes I don't know if you can ever go in life without ever saying that you ever puked in your life. I mean, a lot of people did. A lot of people did it when they were babies, but it was a very, very long time in between the last time I really puked big time. But it was basically like 4 times over the course of 2 days where I had some really bad vomiting, and also some muscle cramps and fever, all that type of stuff, all the symptoms that you would expect from, food poisoning and all that. But it was not a pretty couple of days, and I couldn't really stay at home because because of course, death in my family. We had a funeral service on Friday, sending her to the cemetery and all that, and Thursday and Friday is last. But what I'm trying to say is that, bottom line, last week was rough. I mean, it was a rough week on my body, on my mental status and all that. But by Saturday, I definitely was feeling a lot better. I wasn't, it was basically, Thursday and Friday were the 2 days that I was sick the most. But Saturday and Sunday, I was able to recover nicely, and I'm back here, of course, on Monday nights to do this episode of Time About the Movies again, and to basically kind of get everything back on track. But like I said, last week was probably one of the roughest weeks I've had to go through, not just because of what happened to my grandmother, but also the fact that I got really, really sick, and a lot of my family members got really, really sick, and it's just like everything that could be thrown at you was just thrown at me last week. And bottom line, 2024 has not been a very good year for me for a number of different reasons. And but I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I know it's been a couple of days since I've done an actual video. I have posted little shorts, the 1-second clip, like those things here, which I basically started doing just to have some content to have some stuff on this particular channel here, and I'm going to do more of them over the next couple of days and weeks. So I didn't do one today in particular, but there are more going to be coming the way, and I'm going to try to get back on schedule starting today, of course, with this, and then later on the Reviewing Network talks about. But yeah, that explains why I've been away the last couple of days, and just the really rotten week I had last week. I did try to record one episode of Time About the Movies, which I did for Ocean's 11, which coincidentally was the night I got food poisoning, which, when I recorded that episode, it didn't really feel like I had it. Not until after I put the episode up, that's when I really felt the effects of, like, the food poisoning, the fever, the diarrhea, the nausea, the vomiting, that type of stuff. What was it that Peggy said on King of the Hill whenever she was working at Alamo Beer? La diarrhea, la vomitando, la nausea, like that type of stuff. But yeah, I wanted to explain why I've been kind of been silent the last couple of days in terms of regular videos. But I'm back. I'm feeling a lot better now. Of course, I'm still grieving, of course, over my grandmother's death. But like I said, I'll delve more into that later on down the road. So again, that's why I've been away. But let's try to get back on track here. Let's get back to the reason why you're watching this video in the first place. You want to hear me talk about the movies, and of course, the movies I'm talking about this week are the ones of December 14th, 2001, and we've got three very noticeable films, three notable movies that came out this weekend, and of course, what better way to start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Cameron Crowe's follow-up to his film Almost Famous with Tom Cruise, Cameron Diaz, and Penelope Cruz, and that is Vanilla Sky. So Tom Cruise plays this magazine publisher who begins to question reality after he becomes disfigured in a car crash and ends up being framed for murder for a crime that he maybe didn't commit, maybe he did, but one of the things I like about this movie is that, unfortunately I can't show you the trailer on here because, that gets copyright striked on here. Not really copyright strike, but copyright claim, but I like that the trailer starts off as a typical Tom Cruise movie. It feels like a Jerry Maguire movie, which coincidentally Tom Cruise and Cameron Crowe worked on Jerry Maguire. But I love the turn that it takes halfway through the trailer, and you get the idea of what this movie is. You really don't have a sense of it, but it's this idea that you look at it and you think to yourself, what the heck is going on in this movie, and when does it come out? Because I really want to know what the hell is going on in it, and it definitely shows in the movie itself, because it really is a well-made movie. This is probably one of Tom Cruise's best movies overall. I mean, everybody in this movie does a fantastic job. Not just Cruise, Diaz, and Cruz, but you have Kurt Russell, Jason Lee, Noah Taylor, Timothy Spall, Tilda Swinton, Michael Shannon, Johnny Galecki's also in here, Alicia Witt. It's a very, very interesting film overall. And this is actually based off of a Spanish film called Abra los Ojos, which is, of course, Spanish for Open Your Eyes, as you hear in the trailer a lot. And I've actually never seen that movie, so I can't really compare the two movies, but this is a really, really good movie. It's a visual crowd pleaser on so many different levels. Like, it's really gorgeous to look at, and it really does keep you compelled in what the hell's going on here. And it's one of those movies that I like, these type of movies where you basically don't have any idea of what the ending is supposed to really be straightforward. I mean, it's basically like, you have to figure it out on your own. You have to really look at this and and think of the ideas that they have for this. And there are a lot of interpretations you can take from it. I like movies that question that. I like a lot of movies that channel a lot of that, like the idea that the ending isn't going to be straight out right there for you to really get an understanding of. You really just need to look real closely and think to yourself, like, where's this going and what direction is this going to take? Because I'm an investor right now. I really want to know what the hell's going on. It's kind of like watching Inception, really, when you look at it. When you look at a movie like Inception, and you really have no idea whether or not he actually woke up, or is Leonardo DiCaprio is actually back in the regular world or in the dream world that he always wants to be in, and you always have the spindle, because of course it tells you if the spindle is falling, you're still in the dream. If not, you're very much in reality, and you think it starts to turn over a little bit, but the film cuts away before you can get an idea of what happens, and that's what this movie really does feel like to me. And it's just like, I love movies like this. I love movies that make you think. I love a movie that doesn't straight out tell you exactly what happens. It leaves you wondering what the hell is going to happen, what the hell this movie ends on, and I love it, man. I love how this movie just pretty much ends on a way where it's just like, you don't really know for certain what the hell is going on, but you're invested in what's going to happen at the end, and it does make you think at the end. Like, it's a thinking man's movie. It's a movie that makes you use your brain. It's not a movie that's there to be a turn your brain off type of film. It's a film that wants you to turn your brain on, think about everything that's been going on in this film, and what the overall climax of the movie is supposed to be in your mind. Like, it doesn't give you an ending that you want to see. It gives you an ending of what you want to think about, what you want to see, and that's what I really like about it overall. I think it's a very, very entertaining film, a very solid film, a film that asks you a lot of questions, and it just shows how great of an actor Cameron Crowe. Well, let me rephrase that again. But it just shows you how great of an acting core this is. Cruz, Diaz, and Penelope Cruz. But Cameron Crowe, it just shows how great of a director he has become. And with this, and then also Almost Famous, and then following that up a couple years later with Elizabethtown. I mean, this is a really damn good director. He does not make a lot of really bad movies. I mean, he's. It's funny because the last two movies he made as a director were probably his worst films, and We Bought a Zoo is not bad per se. Aloha is horrible, but This just goes to show you how great of a director Cameron Crowe really is, and kind of makes me wish he made more movies, because he hasn't really done a whole lot since Aloha. Aloha was the one that really kind of killed his career when it was all said and done, but I wanted to go back to making movies like this, movies that make you think, movies that actually make you wonder what's going on here, what the interpretations are, what your brain is thinking while you're watching this, and I want to see more of that, man. I want to see more of that in movies in general, because this is a movie that definitely deserves a lot more attention than I think it definitely gets right now. But from a visual perspective, from a story perspective, from an acting perspective, it just is fantastic, man. Vanilla Sky, top-notch stuff. Can't recommend this one enough. But if you do want a movie where you basically turn your brain off and have a good time with it, maybe the next movie will do the trick for you. You know, that guy could be Captain America one day. Just saying. Give him about 10 years, maybe he can make it work. But this is, of course, not another teen movie, which is one of the many spoof movies. But this was probably the first big one after the Scary Movie films had come out. Nobody really knew exactly what was going to happen once Scary Movie came out, who was going to what the next generation of spoof films were going to look like, and basically the plot of this movie is a parody of teen films. The main plot is basically She's All That, as well as a little bit of Varsity Blues, 10 Things I Hate About You, Can't Hardly Wait, Pretty in Pink, a lot of different movies from the 1980s and 90s all throughout this film. You know, all the John Hughes stuff, Bring It On, American Pie, Cruel Intentions, American Beauty, Never Been Kissed, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Can't Buy Me Love, Jawbreaker, 16 Candles, Dazed and Confused, Lucas, Rudy, Breakfast Club, even Grease is thrown in there. Independence Day is thrown in there, for God's sakes. I mean, this is the type of movie that Jason Freeberg and Eric Seltzer killed with stuff like Date Movie, Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans later on down in the decade. But for this time of the year, for this is coming off a Scary Movie, I actually prefer this more than the Wayans Brothers Scary Movie films, which is really, really odd, because there is a lot of moments in this movie that are not really all that clever, not really all that amazing, but they're so stupid, but it's so funny at the same time, and it's got a talented cast to work off it. I mean, you know, you got Kyla Lee, who's criminally underrated. I don't think they used her a lot very well after this movie came out. I mean, there's been a couple things, but nothing that really made her a superstar, like somebody like Chris Evans or Jamie Presley, or even Eric Christian Olsen. I mean, look at what he's done since this movie's come out. I mean, you've got also Mia Kirshner, Sam Huntington, Sam Levine, Josh Radnor has a cameo in here as well. Lacey Chabert has a cameo in here as well. Serena Vincent, you know, Randy Quaid, just top-notch cast in this, and they make this material work. And while it's not Naked Gun, it certainly is a lot better than I think a lot of people would give it credit for, considering what, you know, spoof movies in general were about to become, with stuff like Date Movie, Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans, all those things. But this is one of those ones where it's just like, it's so funny, it's so ridiculously stupid, but it's hilarious at the same time. I mean, like, it's not a great movie. It's not going to be one of them to consider one of the greatest comedies of all time, but I laughed much harder than I think anybody would have expected with a film like this. And it knew what it was trying to accomplish, and it succeeded for the most part. I mean, it's a stupid, fun movie, but it's a hilariously fun, stupid movie. It's like this Christmas's Dude Where's My Car from the year before. It's just like really, really funny stuff, really stupid stuff, but I loved every minute of it. So that's not another teen movie for you. So let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, and that is Wes Anderson's The Royal Tenenbaums. So The Royal Tenenbaums tells the story of, well, basically the narrative is influenced by the writing of J.D. Salinger, and it follows the lives of three gifted siblings who experience great successes in their youth and even greater disappointments and failure in adulthood. Relevant much? I mean, I definitely could see it, but the children's eccentric father, Royal Tenenbaum, played by Gene Hackman, leads them in their adolescent years and returns to them after they have grown, falsely claiming he has a terminal illness. He works on reconciling with his children and his ex-wife, played by Angelica Houston. And you see the cast there: Danny Glover, Gene Hackman, Angelica Houston, Bill Murray, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Stiller, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson. Pretty much the regulars of Wes Anderson movies. And this was my introduction to Wes Anderson. I think it was a lot of people's introduction to Wes Anderson. Everyone looked at this and said, who is this guy? And, you know, where did he come from? Even though he had made a couple of movies before him. But this was the first movie I ever saw him make. And right away, I was a fan of his work. I've been a fan of his work for a number of years. I mean, I've liked every Wes Anderson movie. There mostly very predictable, especially the latter films, but they're still really enjoyable from the visual perspective, from the story perspective, from the way that they're presented. They're still mesmerizing movies to watch, and he's one of those few directors where every time there's a new movie that comes out of his, I have to watch it, no matter what it is, even if it's not a movie that's one of his better films in general. Excuse me, but even if it's not one of his better films in general, it's still a film that I have to watch. Like, I really liked Asteroid City. I thought that was a really good film. A lot of people were very mixed on that film, but I love the visual concept of it. I love some of the really silliness, the wacky silliness of it. I mean, the movies he makes do get really ridiculous, but like I said, this was the film that really introduced me to the world of Wes Anderson. I'm glad I never went back, because this is probably his overall best film overall. I mean, he's made a lot of great movies, but this is definitely one of those movies that I always go back to every once in a while and watch, just from the cast alone. Fantastic cast, from the visual perspective, from the story perspective. I mean, you can tell he takes a lot of influences from classic films, stuff like, just like Wikipedia says, like The Magnificent Ambersons by Orson Welles, or The Fire Within by Louis Malle. Like, you could definitely see that. Like, and there's a lot of things about it you can definitely relate to. The fact that in the plot description, it says, like, 3 gifted siblings, they have great success in their youth, and they come to the reality of adulthood and realize that you're bound for disappointment and failure, and you come to the point where, kind of like the catchphrase I've been using as of late, life has no real happy endings. You just got to accept that there's going to be a lot of disappointments in your life, and sure enough, I think this movie kind of perfects that pretty well. It's a really good coming-of-age story that basically hits you deep in the gut and tells you that, hey, not everything's going to work out in life, but you got to find a way to move on and just be yourself and just try to get through another day. And, like, really top-notch stuff. And, Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson do a fantastic job handling the script for this. The direction for this is top-notch. A visual flair, beautiful cinematography. I love the cinematography for this movie. Robert Yeoman does a great job with this. Mark Mothersbaugh does a really good job with the score. It's a really fantastic film. It's a film that I always go back to, and it's one of my. It's very. I said it's one of my favorite Wes Anderson movie. It's definitely very, very high up there. If it's not my favorite one, because I like a lot of his movies. I love I love the Grand Budapest Hotel a lot. I love Isle of Dogs and Fantastic Mr. Fox are very, very high up there, and those are movies that are stop motion films, but I love those movies a lot. It really does vary a lot. It's kind of like my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Like, my favorite one, like, it's always a mix. It's always either Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown. I can't really decide between one or the other. I love both of them so much. It feels the same way with the Royal Tenenbaums. Royal Tenenbaums is the one I watch a lot, but I also watch Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs a lot. I watch a lot of Wes Anderson films a lot, so. But, yeah. Royal Tenenbaums is one of those ones that I definitely watch a lot, and it's one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite comedies from Wes Anderson, one of the reasons why I became a Wes Anderson fan to begin with. Just a terrific, terrific film. I can't recommend this one enough. The Royal Tenenbaums. If you have not seen it, do yourself a favor and see it, because you're doing yourself a major, major disservice by not doing so. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we'll head to Christmas week with 6 big new releases, including, Harry Potter was a big gamble. We'll talk about The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring by Peter Jackson. And we'll take a look at Nickelodeon's first CG animated feature, Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. Method Man and Redman have a comedy that comes out on Christmas, How High? Jim Carrey has a new film with director Frank Darabont, The Majestic. Tim Allen has a new film, Jill Somebody. And the Best Picture of the Year, A Beautiful Mind, came out this weekend as well. So, a lot of great movies coming, a lot of great movies and a lot of interesting movies to talk about coming up on the next episode, which will be out tomorrow, barring any unforeseen circumstances. I've been saying it's coming tomorrow, and then all of a sudden crazy things start happening, but hopefully this will come out tomorrow. I should say that, but yeah, should be out tomorrow. We hope. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, and you like this channel a lot, check out the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode, and also hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I'm off. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, take care.